My name is Shayla Price, and over the past 2 years, I loaned my younger sister $23,000 for what she called emergency medical bills. She cried on my doorstep, she showed me hospital invoices, she begged me not to tell our parents because she was embarrassed about her health problems. I gave her every penny she asked for because that's what sisters do. That's what family does. Last week, I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw a post from one of my sister's friends, a carousel of vacation photos from Cabo San Lucas posted 3 months ago. And there, in the third photo, on a beach at sunset, wearing matching swimsuits and holding tropical drinks, were my sister Monique and my husband Kevin. Not as acquaintances, not as coincidental fellow travelers, as a couple, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder, both of them smiling like they didn't have a care in the world, like they weren't spending my money, like they weren't destroying my life. That $23,000 I gave my sister for medical bills, it funded a 2-year affair with my husband. Every work conference Kevin attended, every girls' trip Monique took, they were together, and I paid for all of it. Let me take you back to the beginning, because you need to understand how close we were before the betrayal. My name is Shayla Price. I'm 36 years old, and I'm a senior accountant at a firm in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been married to Kevin Price for 8 years. We have 2 daughters, 7 and 5 years old. Kevin works as a regional operations manager for a logistics company, travels occasionally for work, makes good money. We have a comfortable life, nice house in the suburbs, 2 cars, savings account, retirement fund. I'm the responsible one, always have been. My younger sister Monique is 32, and we grew up incredibly close. I practically raised her after our mother passed away when I was 19 and she was 15. Our father worked 2 jobs, so I stepped in. I helped her with homework, drove her to school, made sure she ate, attended her parent-teacher conferences. When she graduated high school, I helped pay for her community college. When she needed a place to stay during a rough patch with a boyfriend, she lived in our guest room for 6 months. Monique and Kevin always got along well, maybe too well, but I never thought anything of it. They'd joke around at family dinners, text each other memes, have inside jokes. Kevin would help her move apartments, fix her car, give her advice about jobs. I thought it was sweet that my husband and my sister had a good relationship. 2 years ago, Monique showed up at my house on a Saturday afternoon crying, actually sobbing. Kevin was out with the girls at a soccer game, and I was home doing laundry. "What's wrong?" I asked, immediately worried. She could barely get the words out between sobs. "I need help. I'm so embarrassed. I didn't want to tell you, but I don't have a choice." "Tell me what? Monique, what happened?" She pulled out a stack of papers from her purse. Medical bills, invoices from a hospital, from doctors, from labs. The amounts were staggering. $8,000, $5,000, $3,000. I've been having health problems, female problems. I had to have some procedures done, and my insurance barely covered anything. I'm drowning in debt, Shay. I can't pay my rent. I'm going to lose my apartment. I looked at the bills. They looked legitimate. Official letterhead, account numbers, dates, everything. "Why didn't you tell me you were having health issues?" I asked. "I was embarrassed," she said, not meeting my eyes. It's gynecological stuff. I didn't want everyone knowing my business. I thought I could handle it, but the bills keep coming and I can't keep up." My heart broke for her. My little sister dealing with health problems alone because she was too embarrassed to ask for help. "How much do you need?" I asked. $8,000, she whispered. "I know it's a lot. I'll pay you back, I swear. I just need time." I gave her $8,000 from our savings account. I told Kevin it was from Monique's medical bills, and he agreed immediately. "Of course we'll help her," he said. "Family takes care of family." 3 months later, Monique came back. More bills, more tears, more desperation. The procedures didn't work the first time. They had to do it again. I owe another $6,000. I gave her $6,000. 4 months after that, another request. Complications, follow-up appointments, medications, $5,000. I gave her $5,000. Over the next 2 years, every few months, Monique would come to me with more medical bills, more stories about her health struggles, more requests for money. Sometimes she'd cry, sometimes she'd just look exhausted and defeated. And every single time I gave her what she asked for because she was my sister, my baby sister who I'd helped raise, the person I'd do anything for. I kept most of it from our father because Monique begged me not to worry him. Dad has enough to deal with, she'd say. Please don't tell him. This is between us. Kevin knew about all the loans. He saw the money leaving our savings account. He never once questioned it. In fact, he'd often say things like, "I'm glad Monique has you to help her through this," or "She's lucky to have such a supportive sister." Last Monday, I was on my lunch break at work, scrolling through Facebook while eating a sandwich at my desk. A post popped up from a woman named Brittany Coleman, someone I vaguely recognized as one of Monique's friends from college. Throwing it back to Cabo in January, the post had a carousel of photos. I almost scrolled past, but something made me click through. The first photo, Brittany and 2 other women I didn't recognize, posing on a beach. The second photo, a group shot at a beachside restaurant, everyone holding margaritas. The third photo, and there they were, Monique and Kevin, on a beach at sunset. She was wearing a bright red bikini with a white cover-up. He was shirtless in board shorts. His arm was around her waist. Her head was resting on his shoulder. Both of them holding tropical drinks with little umbrellas. Both of them looking at each other instead of the camera. Both of them smiling with an intimacy that made my stomach turn. I stared at that photo for a solid minute, my brain refusing to process what I was seeing. The caption said January, which was 3 months ago. In January, Kevin had been in Dallas for a work conference for 5 days, and Monique had been on a girls' trip to Mexico that she'd posted about on Instagram. Carefully cropped, carefully curated, deliberately misleading. Then I checked Kevin's location on our shared phone tracking app, something we'd set up years ago just for safety with the kids. In January, his location had shown Dallas, Texas for 5 days straight. Except now, sitting at my desk with my heart racing, I realized I'd never actually verified that. I just trusted him. I went to his social media. He'd barely posted in January, which was normal for him. But I looked at who'd liked and commented on his posts. Brittany Coleman, the friend who'd posted the Cabo photos, had liked several of Kevin's posts from around that time. Why would Monique's friend be engaging with my husband's social media? I dug deeper, pulled up our credit card statements from the past 2 years on my computer. I'm an accountant. I know how to follow a money trail. And there it was. Patterns I'd somehow missed while I was busy worrying about my sister's health. Charges at restaurants when Kevin was supposedly at work dinners. Hotel charges in cities he'd never mentioned visiting. Charges for flowers and gifts that I'd never received. I left work early, something I never do. Drove straight to Monique's apartment, the apartment I'd helped her keep by giving her thousands of dollars. I didn't call ahead. I didn't text. I just showed up and pounded on her door until she answered. She opened the door with a smile that dropped the second she saw my face. "Shay, what's wrong? What are you—" "Cabo," I said. "January. You and Kevin." Her face went white, actually white, like all the blood drained out. "I can explain." "Don't," I interrupted. "Don't you dare try to explain. I saw the photos. I saw you two together, looking like a couple, on a beach in Mexico in January, when he was supposedly in Dallas for work and you were supposedly on a girls' trip." "Shay, please come inside. Let me—" "How long?" I demanded. "How long have you been sleeping with my husband?" She started crying, real tears streaming down her face, but I didn't care. Not anymore. 2 years, she whispered. It's been 2 years. 2 years. The same amount of time she'd been borrowing money from me for medical bills. The money, I said slowly. The $23,000 I gave you for medical bills. Was any of it real? She couldn't look at me. Some of it was real at first. I did have some medical debt, but then Kevin and I started. She couldn't finish the sentence. You used my money to fund your affair with my husband, I said, and my voice was deadly calm. Every time he went on a work trip, you went with him. Every time you asked me for money, it was so you could travel with him, stay in hotels with him, play couple with my husband using my money. It wasn't like that, Monique said weakly. It wasn't planned. It just happened. Affairs don't just happen, Monique, especially not for 2 years, especially not while you're crying on my doorstep asking me for money. How did it start? She wiped her tears, and some part of her seemed to give up on lying. Remember when I stayed with you guys for 6 months when I was having problems with Jake? 3 years ago, you lived in our guest room. Kevin and I got close during that time. We'd talk late at night after you went to bed. He'd tell me about problems in your marriage, how you were always working, always tired, never had time for him anymore after the kids. Don't, I said. Don't you dare try to blame me. I'm not. I'm just explaining how it happened. We connected, and one night you were working late, and we had a few drinks, and you slept with him. In my house, while you were living with us rent-free. She nodded miserably. We tried to stop, we really did, but we couldn't. We fell in love, Shay. I went home. Kevin was making dinner like it was any normal Monday evening. Our daughters were in the living room watching TV. Hey, baby, he said when I walked in. You're home early. Everything okay? I walked straight past him, into our bedroom, and pulled out his suitcase from the closet, started throwing his clothes into it. What are you doing? He asked, following me. Shay, what's going on? Cabo, I said. January, you and Monique. He froze. Didn't even try to deny it, just froze. I found the photos. I talked to Monique. I know everything. 2 years, Kevin. You've been sleeping with my sister for 2 years. Shay, let me explain. Explain what? Explain that you've been having an affair with my sister? Explain that every work trip was really a trip with her? Explain that the $23,000 I gave her for medical bills was actually funding your relationship? You knew about the money? Kevin asked, and he actually looked confused. Of course I knew. I'm the one who gave it to her. She told me she had medical bills, and like an idiot, I believed her. I gave her my savings, our savings, to help her, and you watched me do it. You encouraged me to do it, knowing the whole time that she was using that money to travel with you. I didn't know she was asking you for money, Kevin said. She told me she was paying for it everything herself. You didn't know? I laughed, bitter and broken. You didn't think to question how your girlfriend could afford all these trips while supposedly drowning in medical debt? She's not my girlfriend, Kevin said. It's complicated. It's what? What is it, Kevin? Because from where I'm standing, you've been having a full relationship with my sister for 2 years while I raised your children, maintained your home, and funded your affair without even knowing it. I pulled out my phone and showed him the credit card statements I'd printed. March 2023, Charlotte. You told me you were at a logistics conference. Monique told me she was visiting a friend. Hotel charge for $400. April 2023, Atlanta. You told me you were meeting clients. Hotel charge, restaurant charges, $600. August 2023, Nashville. Work trip, $800. January this year, Cabo San Lucas disguised as Dallas, $2,000. I can explain all of those. And those are just the trips I found. How much of our money, Kevin, how much of our daughter's college fund, our retirement savings, our future did you spend on my sister? His face crumpled. I love her, Shay.
I didn't mean for this to happen, but I fell in love with her, and she loves me. She loves what I paid for, I said. Take your sister out of the equation. Did you ever love me? That was 3 months ago. Kevin moved out that night, went to stay with his brother. I filed for a divorce the next day, demanded full financial disclosure, got a lawyer who specialized in adultery cases. What we discovered was even worse than I thought. Over the 2-year affair, Kevin had spent nearly $40,000 on Monique. Trips, gifts, jewelry, rent money. He'd been supporting her lifestyle while I thought I was the one doing it. The $23,000 I'd given her directly, plus another $17,000 from our joint accounts that I'd never questioned because I trusted my husband. My lawyer went after every penny in the divorce. Tennessee is a fault state, and adultery matters in asset division. I got the house, majority custody of the girls, child support, and half of Kevin's retirement account. The judge was not sympathetic to a man who'd spent $40,000 on an affair with his wife's sister. Monique and I haven't spoken since that day at her apartment. My father knows everything now. I couldn't keep it from him anymore. He's devastated. His 2 daughters, the family he thought was so close, destroyed by betrayal. He barely speaks to Monique. As for Kevin and Monique, last I heard, they're together, living in an apartment in Nashville, playing house with my money. She posts photos on social media occasionally, carefully curated images that don't show the destruction they caused to get there. I blocked them both, but mutual friends keep me updated whether I want to hear it or not. People ask me if I'm okay, if I've healed, if I've forgiven. The truth is, I'm 36 years old, a single mother of 2, learning to trust again after the 2 people closest to me spent 2 years lying to my face. I'm in therapy. I'm rebuilding my savings. I'm explaining to my daughters why Daddy doesn't live here anymore and why we don't see Aunt Monique. But I learned something valuable through all this pain. I learned that blood doesn't mean loyalty, that family can be the ones who hurt you deepest because you never see them coming, that the sister I raised, protected, and financially supported for years saw me as nothing more than a resource to exploit. I learned to trust my instincts instead of my heart, to verify before I believe, to look at bank statements even when I trust my spouse, to understand that people who truly need help don't hide where that help is going. And most importantly, I learned that I'm strong enough to walk away from anyone, sister, husband, anyone who sees my love as a weapon to use against me. That $23,000 bought me the most expensive education of my life, but it also bought me freedom from people who never deserved me in the first place. And in the end, that might be worth it.